metadata services of GISC Tokyo. In this lecture, I want to talk about metadata at JMA. This is today's agenda. At first, I will talk about correct metadata and WMO interim metadata management service. And next, I want to talk about exchange metadata between GISCs. So, by the way, why does we have to maintain metadata? Yes, ultimately this is for end users, mainly using for WIS discovery access and retrieval service, but also it is WMO's regulation. WIS manual say each metadata record uploaded shall be represented in compliance with the WMO core metadata profile with unique identifier, and also data, product, and metadata shall flow to GISC from DCPCs and from NCs within its area of responsibility. In other words, every DCPC and NCs have responsibility for collecting, updating, and sharing metadata to your principal GISC. Like this, DCPC and NC create, update, and share with your principal GISC. Please remember the regulation of the manual on WIS. WIS manual say, data, product, and metadata shall flow to a GISC from DCPCs and from NCs within its area of responsibility. But if your principal GISC is not yet in operation, so what can you do? From now, I want to talk about WIMMS. WIMMS is abbreviation for WMO Interim Metadata Management Service. WIMMS is a temporary service of those centers whose principal GISC is not yet operational. WIMMS is provided by volunteer operational GISCs, currently GISC Beijing and GISC Tokyo. And GISC Seoul will be able to provide WIMMS starting from early this year. Now, GISC Tokyo take care of several centers, include Qatar. Qatar has ID for maintenance metadata for WIMMS. For detail of other countries, please refer WIS Center database on WMO website. WIMMS provide completely same function for responsibility area. For example, we assist for creating, editing, and editing your metadata. And you can upload your own metadata to GISC Tokyo, and you can provide your metadata from GISC Tokyo to the other. And this service is limited until your principal GISC become in operation. When your GISC become in operation, we will hand over your metadata set to your principal GISC, and WIMMS mission is complete. That's maintain metadata and WIMMS. Next then, I want to talk about metadata synchronization between GISCs. We use OAI-PMH for synchronization. Why? This is regulation of manual on WIS. WIS manual say GISCs GISC should exchange metadata catalog updates using version 2 of Open Archives Initiative Protocol for Metadata Harvesting. OAI-PMH is abbreviation for Open Archives Initiative Protocols for Metadata Harvesting, and it is protocol developed by the Open Archives Initiative, and it is used to harvest or collect the metadata descriptions of the record in an archives, so that services can be built using metadata from any archives. In the world of the OAI-PMH, there is a repository and harvester. Left side, repository is also called data provider. It has role of server. Now repository has metadata. Right side, harvester is the client, and it wants to collect metadata from repository. Harvester requests the transmission of metadata to repository via HTTP, and then repository responds the metadata as XML. I will try to fit into the framework of the WIS. Now, disk A, disk A is a repository, and disk A has a metadata. Disk B is a harvester, and disk B wants to collect metadata from disk A. And disk B requests the transmission of metadata to disk B, and disk A responds the metadata to disk B as XML. But usually, both of GISCs want to exchange or synchronization metadata. So GISCs have role of repository and harvester, like this. GISCs request the transmission to other GISCs each other, and disk A requests metadata to disk B, and disk B requests metadata to disk A. As you know, GISC is not only two. GISCs request metadata to every other GISCs. Disk A wants to collect metadata from disk B, C, and D. So every GISC requests metadata to every other GISCs. In this way, GISC can synchronize all metadata that every GISC has, and end users can search same metadata from respective GISC portal. Now, GISC Tokyo synchronize metadata with GISC Beijing, GISC Offenbach, and GISC Toulouse, and harvest from DCPC Bangkok with using OAI-PMH. So end users can search all metadata from GISC Tokyo portal. So do you remember this slide? The metadata which you create, modify, is exchanged between the GISCs. After exchanging from GISC Tokyo, you can search your metadata from other GISCs. So let's have a look at the interface of each GISC with the searching SIQT20. SIQT20 is collection of sign-up reports available from Doha International Airport. First one from GISC Tokyo. URL is here, but we can search the URL from Google search. So from this screen, move to metadata and search and browse page. Enter SIQT in the title box, SIQT20, and click search. So we can get the result. Click this link. We can get metadata. And from this screen, we can expand the result. So from distributor. This is a result of the metadata from GISC Tokyo portal. Next is from GISC Beijing. URL is wistportal.cma.gov.cm. This is a WIS portal of GISC Beijing. From this screen, point data discovery on the left side of menu. Click metadata search. And enter SIQT20 at the title box, and check use geographical search, and click search. So we can get the result from just Beijing, SIQT20. This is just Beijing. Next is GISC Offenbach. We can search from this text box. Also, we can search from this menu. Click search from data product menu. And enter SIQT20. And drag this square to around here. And click continue. So we can get the result of SIQT20. The last one is GISC tools. this is a screen of GISC tools. So click from this screen, click Advanced Search and enter SIQD20 on title box and click Search. This is the result. And to see the detail of metadata, click eye icon, right side above. So we can get the detail of the metadata from GISC tools website. Once again, from GISC Tokyo portal, from GISC Beijing, from GISC Open Bar, from GISC tools. Interface is a little bit different between GISCs, but you can search your own metadata from other GISCs. So in this lecture, metadata services for in this next lecture, I want to talk about the next metadata of services for MC and DCPCs. So I want to talk about roles of the responsibility and create, submit metadata. And I want to talk about initiative of GISC Tokyo. So this is a metadata service of GISC Tokyo. If you have any question. Once you modify the metadata and upload that, for example, GISC Tokyo, metadata flow other GISCs, so you can change all GISCs metadata. No, once you upload to Tokyo, the metadata flow every GISC. Once, only one times. Yes. Yes.
So for some countries, Tokyo, for others, Pele, others, Okiba, depending on how they decide. Then you update, it goes to your principal disk, and then using the procedure you have seen, the disk will take care of distributing everywhere the update. So you only need to do it once. That's how it works. Another question. How can I, as a national center or DCPC, how can I upload to the disk my metadata? Do I have to do that manually? How does it work?
We have Excel-based metadata creation tool, and so we can create the metadata record. So tool can export the metadata record files, and then we provide the interface to upload to GISC. I will talk about the how to do update metadata tomorrow. interface to upload of on the GISC Tokyo portal.
What about if I don't want to upload because I have many? Can it be automatic?
No, currently one by one.
And you mentioned Bangkok. How does it work there?
DCPC can have a OS license and we have it DCPC already.
So your service of FTP service can be download the information that what is doing, so automatically can be upload the information to the computer. Data, no, no, it's data.
So this OAI, PMH, then I can provide and automatically the GISC will get from me. So I don't need to do one by one.
Now, like something they upload the metadata to.
They basically provide their own GISC, like their information, and then we are publishing their
I
own.
mean, like if you use the WIS cycle code, download the data from there, like the information for drop the data for metadata. Yeah, in this case, they should have like WIS.
DCPC, Bangkok, and GISC Tokyo
Yeah, I
with
got it.
OAI PMH
I
protocol.
got it. I mean, you don't need to download the data. You can connect to the WIMMS and to download the data correctly. This one to like to make a speed run, automatically speed run between WIMMS and WIMMS, or how we download the data to the system. The metadata.
Metadata.
We are publishing.
Or harvesting automatically.
I think there's some confusion here. Not sure where it is, but really one needs to distinguish data and metadata. Two different things.
No, I'm talking
So
about metadata.
metadata usually doesn't have to be downloaded because the metadata just contains some information that helps me to find something. Of course, yes, we can download the metadata from the GISC. For example, by clicking on the detail, I can see the metadata. But usually, I wouldn't need it because it serves no purpose other than finding a resource.
I don't have like, you can say my link is down between me and my region. So I'd like to connect to Tokyo to have some data. But I don't have like a TV connection between me and Tokyo to have some data to show me this. I like to load into WIS Tokyo and upload the data, metadata from WIS Tokyo.
Good. So what? Yeah. What you want is data here. So I think people can help you with this. But let's be clear about what is what. The metadata you don't download because the metadata you cannot make a model or an observation with. The metadata only helps you to find some data. Now, what you can do is, for example, I'm talking now with Offenbach, that they have a subscription service. You can find some data there, and how do you find the data? Because metadata has been provided for. Okay, now you have found the data. You can say subscribe. And then what it will do is it will send to you by FTP to your FTP server. Every time this thing arrives, you will retrieve the information. I think the other GISCs have similar mechanisms. For example, what will be demonstrated after tomorrow is that you can have small software running on your computer that will subscribe to the GISC Tokyo and retrieve a certain product. But this has nothing to do with metadata other than that the metadata helps you knowing that this data exists. So, two separate things.
So I want to change the next presentation. Okay. Metadata services for MCs and DCPCs. This is again this lecture. First, I want to talk about our roles and responsibilities, and then I will talk about the flow of the metadata from viewpoints of MC and DCPC. And I will talk about services of GISC Tokyo for MC and DCPC at the end of the lecture. First one is roles and responsibilities. I will talk about roles and responsibilities of MC and DCPC. Please remember this slide. This manual says each metadata record updated shall be present in compliance with the WMO for metadata profile with unique identifier, and also data, product, and metadata shall flow to GISC from DCPC and from MC within its area of responsibility. This is our role and responsibility. MC and DCPC must create, submit to your metadata to GISC and monitor it. And GISC must collect metadata from MC and DCPC and exchange it between GISC and provide to end user. Like this, every DCPC and MC have responsibility for creating, submitting your metadata to your benchmark. This is case of JMA. JMA has MC and 8 DCPCs, for example, Typing Center, Satellite Center, and so. So if Tokyo collects metadata of MC Tokyo and DCPC of JMA. Every MC and DCPC must create and submit metadata to your GISC. In the case of GISC Tokyo, 3 of them, MC and DCPC of JMA, MC and DCPC of responsibility area of GISC Tokyo, and MC and DCPC of WIMMS Tokyo. They create and submit their own metadata to GISC Tokyo. have two layers for creating and submitting metadata. Registered users can upload to GISC Tokyo and delete all metadata from GISC Tokyo portal. And everybody can download Microsoft Excel-based metadata creation tool from GISC Tokyo portal, and they can create metadata files to upload. Microsoft Excel-based metadata creation tool is under development by GISC Tokyo. It can run ordinary Windows PC users, Windows PC, and Microsoft Excel. And we develop for it to use. I will talk about detail of this tool tomorrow. The metadata which you create and submit, it will be exchanged between GISC. And then end users can search your metadata from this portal, and they can find your data itself. Creating and submitting the metadata is your role. I think creating and submitting your metadata, and then it will be provided by GISC. It is possible to attract the users, increase number of users of data, increasing the importance of DCPC. The third step is to monitor metadata which you submit to GISC. For this purpose, any GISC metadata catalog provides a search function. I'd like to show how NC and DCPC metadata appears on the metadata catalog using GISC Tokyo's metadata search function. From now on, we will search DCPC metadata and get data files. So we try to search DCPC abstract data and refer NC name. On this screen, point metadata and click search and browse. So there is a many text box on this page. There is a many text box on this page. And this time we will use the full text search. So you can full text search with using the text box of full text. Here. Green box. Red box. When you enter a word, system will search from all elements with the word. What is the good keyword? JMA satellite name is NCSAT, and the nickname is Himawari. Himawari is it means sunflower. So I will enter NCSAT. We can get several results. Today I will see the entity that we are going to manage from JNN website. Here. So we can get the detail of the metadata. So we can expand the elements to distribution info. From this distribution info, we can get the URL of the product. Like this, so we can get the product or data file from metadata using metadata from this portal. URL? Yes. www.jnn.go.jp is JNN homepage address. So we moved to with jna.go.jp. This is this Tokyo's URL. So we can move from here with this metadata. Once again, this is the Tokyo portal screen. We pick the URL to data or product, and then we can move the product or data file. Let's explore.
Maybe this would be clearer if you search for something that is not JNA. Maybe you search for, is there the JNA satellite vendor? Do you have metadata? Or is it? But really, this is not maybe try ACMA.
Right?
With the
ACMA do.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we have found in the GISC Tokyo some ACMAT information, and now we could click, and this has brought us to the UMETSAT. They make this ACMAT format, and here we can in distribution we can get the product. So that
Who is provider of data?
Who is provide?
Primary source of those data, but there are connectors, no?
Which name does it have?
It is source. It is not ACMA. Because ACMA is the name of the product in your Africa, and then there's a chain of models. So somebody is using the name ACMA for product. So ACMA, maybe in the future ACMA will use it.
yes, but the point is that we found something that doesn't belong to the JNA. We were able to find information in the GISC Tokyo, and then by following the link, we got to the original provider, who is in this case it seems UMETs are. Yes, of course. In the end, if I have a model, everybody is in it because I take the observations from around the globe. So if here in the case, it is a UMATSAT product, as is very clear, but they use information from everywhere. But that's not the point. The point is that we were able to find a resource that shouldn't belong to the GISC in the GISC, and we were able to go there to retrieve the data. So in this case here, they have some distribution channel then, and that allows you to get the data.
Sorry for the previous example. From, is for Japan satellite. No.
Ah.
Can you open this? Anyway. This GNA product, correct?
GNA.
Correct. No. Like, now you take me from your GISC to DCPC satellite. Keep no. No, you open this link. This is the satellite link. Sorry. Can you open again the satellite link? Satellite link.
Yeah.
This address, wait, is WPM address dot this is not the DCPC satellite link in Japan.
DCPC satellite center
Yeah,
product.
this one. This is the link. Like they take me to the DCPC satellite center product in Japan.
This URL is JNA official homepage,
Yeah.
but and the product is in the this server. But we can move to the product of the data or product from metadata.
So your question is about the name.
Yeah.
So this is the JNA website,
Yes.
not the Metadata Center. And DCPC information system is actually the website with it does not necessarily correspond to the server or web server itself. So DCPC Metadata Center can provide their information in any web server, for example. And in this case, the satellite image is a very, very general information. So we happen to have this particular product on the JMA official website. But for example, Korea's Iranian data, for example, those will be used only by Metadata Center or something. And then we have another Metadata Satellite Center server, side server or something. So, DCPC is a function, not a server or web server. So, not necessarily the MSC web server. And so, so we have a lot of web servers.
But this is Japan product. I think it should be related to the GISC. I can't do this product for GISC product. Why can you see this product for GISC product?
No, because DCPC, not all the DCPC products is on this forum. The only globally distributed one.
This technical, globally extensive.
So I mean the Japan product. This is your product. receive from the GISC portal, you take me to another website. I cannot see directly from your portal.
Yeah, that was the point of metadata, because any can have all the data, even in Japan, we have, not to say in global data. So we have part of data. This images have global data, that's a part of data. But if we don't have data itself on our server, then we provide the link. That's the point.
It's okay for like GISC for the worldwide, another worldwide data, or another country data. But for your product, I mean for Japan product, should be come from Japan proper.
Okay, yes, of course we can have link, but
You think if the cloud page, it contains this the cloud page, content. But it's not. Yeah.
The general point here is that it would be more convenient if the data can be immediately also be looked at, and I don't have to follow so many steps to retrieve it. And yes, I think that is the way forward. However, one thing is important here. Often people are concerned about giving away their data. In some remote, this is a very recurrent problem. Countries, they say, our data is ours, we exchange some, but we don't want all our data to go into the system, and somebody retrieves it, and they don't even know it's from me. Who pays me so that I make the product if somebody else gives it away? People often don't like this. So this is why the product, if it is not a global product, will be retrieved from the website or through the distribution mechanism of the data owner. In that way, they can apply the policy they want to the data. This is not so convenient, but this is the way people want to do. So now, unfortunately, we need to follow the link. But I think this is not so bad, because really you don't even realize. Maybe you go from one web page to the next. Not so complicated.
Okay, that case, what is there's an authorization or something on the other side?
Yeah, then there is an authorization, and people need to.
That has to have access by the forces of revenue.
For example, here in that case, the satellite is free, but you could maybe imagine that some product has some access restrictions of any kind. So then it can be applied, this policy, by the tender itself. It is really, sometimes I go to a newspaper page and you need to pay for the article. So that is the same. Maybe the Google News has found the article for me and I know the summary, but to see the whole article I need to pay. So that's the same here.
Product from so this is service for NC and DCPC from this Tokyo portal. You can upload or delete your metadata with your ID and password also you can monitor your metadata. And with using Microsoft face-to-face metadata creation tool, you can create or modify your metadata easily. This is initiative of this Tokyo. We cannot start to create metadata without some tools. So we are developing the metadata creation tools with Microsoft Excel, and we talk about this tool, the missionary tour or workshop in Tokyo. And also we usually talked about importance of metadata at our missionary tour or workshop. So now people are understanding what is the metadata or importance of metadata. And parts of centers have started to create their own metadata. This is metadata services for NT and DCPC. And tomorrow, I will talk about details of Excel-based metadata creation tool and metadata management with using this tool. Thank you very much.